everybody for joining us for the Spring to Success series that we've had this week. Today is the final session where we're talking with our two professional academic advisors. We have Lauren Hatfield with us and Miss Raven Nelson with us as well. So they're going to talk to us about how to prepare for fall 2021 advising as pre-registration is coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll just let them take it away. Thank you.
So like Michelle said, I'm Raven Nelson. And kind of just to give everybody just a little bit of background of the role of Lauren and I. As the academic advisors, what we really want to do is kind of work one-on-one because we understand that everybody's academic journey is a little bit different. And Lauren and I can be really helpful in making sure that you're on track specific to your journey. And that just kind of includes some different things of working through specifically breakthrough and the general education requirements. Lauren and I don't want to delve too much into your major departments because that's why you have major advisors. But what we're here for is kind of get you started into that, give you the resources and the tools to understand your own journey so that you can be an advocate as you move forward to your major advisors. And the biggest thing that Lauren and I want to do is just be a resource for anything that you don't understand, you need help with, you need clarity, what classes may or may not work best in your schedule, and how to get registered and all those things. So anything academic that you don't understand, we're open and here for. I specifically am working with transfers. Lauren will work primarily with freshmen, but both of us are open to working with anybody who needs help. And so that's what we're here for, and we want people to come and see us. Our doors are always open, but you're more than welcome to also make appointments through academia as well to kind of understand. And so that's just kind of a basic understanding of what Lauren and I are here for.
And there's a couple things we do want to take you through today, and I'm actually going to share my screen so you can see exactly what opportunities there are for you to be looking at things ahead of time when it comes to preparing for advising. Everyone will start getting that information very quickly. The advisors will start to reach out to their individual advisees. But there's a lot of information that students have access to on their MyWC page. And when you just go to that home page, even just from there, you have this degree requirement section over here, and clicking on that actually provides you a lot of information in regards to your breakthrough information. And as Raven said, we're not exactly the experts within the departments and the majors. That would be the department advisor that you're assigned. But students start with us before they declare that major, and then they will be assigned that department advisor. So we can absolutely ask questions. You can absolutely ask us questions. We can help with that. But breakthrough in the general education is where a lot of our focus is. So just to let you guys know where you can easily access that information, under that degree requirements section, there are going to be two sections. The first one says new foundations and the second one breakthrough. New Foundations is the old general education curriculum for students prior to starting fall of 19. And then Breakthrough is anybody who has started fall of 19 moving forward. So we're doing a transition of general education curriculum. All of those worksheets and everything can be found here, summaries of both. But the most important part, especially for figuring out what classes you need for those gen eds, are these worksheets. So like if I open up the Breakthrough worksheet, this provides me a document of essentially all of the lines you need to fill in with classes to meet those requirements. Some students will transfer in a good amount of courses, which is perfectly fine, and some of them will apply to the gen eds. But ideally, and your advisors, and especially any students that we work with, we will provide this worksheet as we're kind of filling it in, and then tell students, hold on to this worksheet. We'll bring it out every semester and keep adding to it. That way you know exactly what you still need, what you need to take, and things of that nature. So the worksheets are going to be very, very important. They can be confusing, and we're absolutely happy to answer any questions. But the worksheets, this is just kind of the roadmap that you definitely want to use when it comes to figuring out what you need. So those worksheets are going to be very important. Now, to figure out what classes you need to take for those worksheets, we do have a full list of courses that go for each of those. So like, as you can see here, like the first thing, approved breakthrough theme courses for aesthetics. If I were to go to this worksheet and go to themes and find aesthetics right here, I need one course in aesthetics. And I go back, these are all of the classes that are going to fulfill that requirement. Now you just need to take one of them, and unfortunately not every single class is going to be offered every semester. There will be certain classes offered at certain semesters and then other times, so this whole list may not be available, but this will show you exactly what will go into that requirement. And it's really a simple list. All of the headings are there. You just kind of match it to the line. And if this gets updated and classes are added, we update this list so you have access to that at all times. So everything is right here in this list. It's just matching that to this worksheet to figure out what it is that you need to take. And we are more than happy to help you figure that out, or your other advisor as well. So, oops, there we go, go back. The other thing I want to make note of, if you keep scrolling down to other degree information on degree requirements, you will see worksheets for our dual programs, certificates, and majors as well. So for example, if I were to click on accounting major, maybe you're thinking of going into accounting and you're not sure, but you just kind of want to see maybe what would be required of the program, what classes it would encompass. This is where you can find that information. So this would be the worksheet. It's kind of the same as Breakthrough. It gives you a worksheet of classes you need to take, and you could kind of see what types of classes you would need to complete in doing that. Now, we've pulled these worksheets to put them on MyWC to make them easier for you guys to access, but all of this information is also in the school catalog. And I'm going to show you where that's located too, because the catalog is the rule book of the university or the college. So it's very important to make sure that we are following the catalog. Raven and I reference the catalog all the time when we have questions or we're trying to figure something out. So we want to make sure you guys are aware of where that's located. But before I do that, just one quick note on these worksheets, there is a preview page including with them. This is really important because there might be stipulations within the majors you need to be aware of, especially before making your decision. So for example, like this last line, majors must have at least a 2.0 grade point average in all required accounting, business admin, economic, and finance courses needed to satisfy major requirements. So that may not be true for every single degree, but it's specific to this one. So we would want to make sure if a student were going to declare an accounting degree, they were aware of this requirement and make sure they're prepared to meet that. So you just would definitely want to check these preview pages whenever you're kind of hunting around and searching and maybe doing some research. Okay, so if you go back to MyWC and you go to your course search, this is actually going to allow you a couple different places. You can scroll down just a little bit to see the current course catalog, or you can scroll down a little bit further and click on academic catalogs. So either way, you can do it that way. Oh my gosh, that little thing up there is at the wrong spot. If you click that guy, and it'll take you to a page where it has listed the academic catalogs. Now, your academic catalog is specific to the year that you started. So if you started fall of 2019, 2019 to 20 would be your academic catalog. If you started in 2018 of fall, 18 to 19 would be your academic catalog. So we archive these because your catalog is specific to the year that you started. So this is where you can access all of them. Always double check if you click a catalog link anywhere on our website or the school's website, just make sure you're looking at the correct catalog to you, because if it's just one link, it's probably going to be the most up-to-date catalog, and that may not be the one that you want to look at per se. So always make sure the catalog you are looking at and referencing reflects your start date at the school. And Raven is going to talk to you a little bit more about that course search.
At the top, you'll go to course search, and you'll scroll down a little bit further than where the catalogs are, and you'll see the little magnifying glass. And so the way that I find it easiest, if you're looking for a specific class, But kind of what I find easiest is just typing in, maybe for an English class, just the beginning 3 letters of the prefix, and it'll bring up a list. And so you'll be able to see the time, where it's at, and things like that to kind of prep your schedule. As a little tip, I would encourage everybody to print out or go through their breakthrough worksheet that Lauren just showed you in your major sheet. Fill out maybe what you have taken, and from there you can kind of look at the course search for the fall, and then also see what you may want to take. I would encourage everybody to try and do it to the best of your ability before you either meet with Lauren and I or your faculty advisor. It shows that you're kind of putting in some effort and really taking accountability for your degree and for your academic journey. And again, for anybody who's confused, or you're not seeing it right, or you just want help kind of filling it out, that's what Lauren and I are both here for.
And as soon as advising starts, so that is going to be happening very quickly. We're going to start publishing things next week, beginning of February. Can't believe it's already February, but beginning of February. So as soon as you get that information, it's very important for you to identify in that course search what courses are going to be available, but also just kind of making note too that some classes might not have as many seats. So, you know, if that's a class that you really need to take, you want to make sure that you, as soon as you get your registration time and date, that you're making plans to get on your computer, setting time aside to register for those classes, because we just want to make sure you don't miss out on getting a seat in that class, especially if it's a major class that you're going to need. So
another little tip that in your course search, you can click on classes and see what prereqs you would need for each class. So that again will help you when it's time to register, as you're filling out things, to know what you can or can't take, or what you'll be able to take. So certain things, if you haven't taken Math 114, then you can't take Econ 212. So that just gives you a little bit of more understanding of kind of when you need to take things, knowing that they need prereqs, and how and when to take them in each semester.
Very, very important. And making any notes on that worksheet, also of classes, you know, if you see certain classes you think you might be interested in when you're just kind of doing that initial research, you know, make note of that, kind of keep notes for your future semesters too. We found that some students have found classes that they were really interested in, but they didn't write them down or jot them down anywhere. And then later they're trying to figure out what that class was. So research is your best friend when it comes to advising. Even if you have a few semesters left or only 1 or 2, any research that you do to kind of prepare for the next couple of semesters is really, really going to be to benefit you. As Raven said, we're here to answer any questions that you have. We're happy to work alongside your department advisors if need be. We're on the 2nd floor of the library in the Student Success Center. You are also more than welcome to come hang out and do homework in our space too, if you have questions or anything. Everybody involved in the Student Success Center can also assist you with time management. We're happy to have those conversations, as well as if you are interested in talking more about degree paths or plans or career fields or things of that nature. We are definitely a unit here to help you with all of those things. So 2nd floor of the library, feel free to come by and see us anytime. Reach out via email, phone, or schedule an appointment via academia. The other thing we just wanted to note too is that if you're not one of our advisees, we're absolutely more than happy to help you. It just might take us a minute to pull all of your records. So if you want to give us a little bit of a heads up, reach out and set up an appointment, that is absolutely fantastic. That way we can get all those materials ready to talk to you. But if you just want to stop by, that's perfectly fine as well. So whichever you prefer. We don't want to take up too much of your time, but we want to make sure we're looking at the right things. So we will be happy to pull those and answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Lauren and Raven. We have a couple questions here in the queue. So one of the questions is how do students find what the class is actually about? Because I saw your list of the different themes and they can read the titles, but how do they find out what the class is actually about?
So on that same course search, if you click on a class where you can see the prereqs, it'll also give a 2 or 3 sentence description of what the class will entail. Again, I know those always aren't as descriptive or help understanding. So again, coming to Lauren and I, or really anybody in the Student Success Center who's maybe dealt with students who have taken certain classes or certain professors, to kind of help you either understand better or know maybe what the class entails when it even comes to papers only or test only, things like that. Just come in as is kind of the best way if you really don't understand, but each one will give you a kind of 2 or 3 sentence. And you can also find that at the back of the catalog. It lists all the classes, so you can go kind of back there and search through everything and see what each class is about.
Okay, perfect. How does a student decide out of all of those courses which one to take? Because they all might sound interesting to a student. How do you help advise students on which one of those to take?
So the first thing is if we meet the prereqs. That's always going to be our first thing that we figure out, if we meet the prereqs. And a lot of it too is logistical, because in that breakthrough worksheet, if you look at it a little bit more closer and read the headings, you'll see that there are some stipulations. Like in the themes, you cannot have the same subject, same prefix for more than one. So for example, if we take an English class and you want to take another English class, we can't do that because that'll be 2 English classes. So we have to focus on, we've already taken an English class, how about a history class or a philosophy class or something along those lines. So the general education requirements are really designed to help students kind of adventure a little bit into different subjects and kind of see if maybe there's some subjects that they are interested in that maybe they didn't know. It gives a lot of flexibility and freedom to explore, I guess. Really explore the different disciplines that are offered here. So when it comes to choosing courses, you know, we want to make sure we meet the prereqs, but one of the first questions we're also going to ask you is, what are you interested in? What really interests you? We'll take some of those classes, and then if we have to work around that, like for example, you will need a natural science class for your breakthrough requirements. I know science isn't my greatest subject, not a huge fan of it, but I would need to take a science if I were a student. So then figuring out, am I more comfortable with chemistry or biology, or maybe did I take a class in high school that kind of swayed me one way or another? It becomes very conversational because we want everyone to be comfortable in their classes. So we might have to, you know, branch out of our comfort zone a little bit to take different disciplines we maybe aren't sure about, but that's why we have general education courses that are those lower levels, because they are really designed to introduce you to the discipline. It's not there to be a headache. They just want to introduce you to the discipline and give you that opportunity to explore. So there's a lot of different questions that we'll ask. Some students know exactly what classes they want to take, what disciplines they're interested in, and others it just kind of comes in conversation. But the beautiful thing is that a lot of students have taken classes where they were like, I know nothing about psychology, but I can't take another history. I've already taken all my English, so let's take a psychology class, and they actually end up loving it. So a lot of opportunity to explore, but a lot of it will be conversational, us asking a lot of questions as to your interests, where your comfort level is, and trying to find the best class to introduce you to those disciplines to meet those requirements.
Perfect, thank you. So when a student is meeting with you, is it better for a student to plan their entire 4-year sheet as a freshman, or is it better if a student does it semester by semester?
So kind of a difficult question, but I think it's kind of a mix of both. You know, I think a lot of people obviously want to finish in 4 years, so it's definitely important to keep that in mind, especially when it really comes to the prereqs here. There's a lot of majors that are very sequential. So while we want to look semester by semester, we don't want to miss out when one class is only offered in fall only versus when it's offered, you know, maybe they're offered both times, spring and fall. So Lauren and I will definitely make sure that we're looking at kind of the bigger picture, because I know sometimes that's harder for, you know, brand new freshmen or people new here to see and understand when classes are offered. But we do take it a semester at a time, because with grades, prereqs, you know, a teacher may be on sabbatical, different things happen. So we do have to adjust. And again, that's where Lauren and I can really come and help you understand, okay, we've got to take math right now if we're going to take X, Y, and Z after this, and try to keep you on track. So I know it's hard. I know it's hard as a freshman to come in and try to maybe want to see everything at once. And that's what Lauren and I can help you understand of where those things are. But I think maybe really focusing initially on, okay, this semester, let's get these things done if we want to get to these next semesters and take care of business.
Okay. What if a student's academic worksheet plan doesn't end up working out for them? So for an example, I'm a senior and just now realize I need to take a class that isn't being offered before they graduate. What is your advice?
One of the beautiful things about Westminster is that students have access to a lot of conversations with a lot of different players in our administration. So in a situation like that, we would, of course, kind of do what Raven and I call a degree audit. So we would go back, we'd compare a bunch of different systems and make sure that nothing was missed, or check and see if at some point in time, maybe the department made a change and that's what threw us off, or maybe there is an exception made or something along those lines. And then kind of go from there. If it was something that we can get back on track and we can maybe make a substitution or switch out where that class needed to be, we can easily do that. If that needs to be a bigger conversation, we would then set a meeting with probably the dean and just kind of have that conversation. And we've done that a couple of times. We kind of have that preliminary conversation. On our side of academics, we'll usually put a little bit of a plan in place of what we think might be the best route, and then we'll bring the student into that to have that conversation. So we never hope to get to that point. We always hope that everyone can go smoothly through that degree program, but department chairs change, professors change, courses change, accreditation standards change. There's a lot that can happen in 4 years, and we completely understand that. So students definitely, if they ever start to feel like maybe they weren't sure about a class, or we discover that maybe something didn't apply where we had intended it to, or something along those lines, we can always have a conversation about it. And that's the beautiful thing of these worksheets and being able to fill that in, is that that should be something we can catch sooner rather than later. Absolutely, if something changes. In my head, the biggest thing sticking out is that maybe a class is just eliminated because there's a change in staffing in the department. And so that class isn't being offered moving forward, but something else is. But then students have to figure out what other class would go for that, and we would just figure that out, essentially. So all kinds of opportunity, we just have to have a conversation about it and see what options we have, but we can always figure something else out.
I think
sounds like there's some hope.
I think yes. Lauren said too, like with such a small community, everybody is definitely willing to work with the student and go, to every link to make sure that we're keeping them on track. And if they get to that point, can we sub something in? Can we do an independent study? We definitely don't want one class or even two classes to put a kid another semester behind. So with such a small community, so many people are going to really be working to make sure we can get it right.
Okay, thank you. So we might have a student who's really confused by the prerequisites and all of the options. How do they navigate that?
Well, I can say sometimes the course search function can get a little overwhelming with the prerequisites. If you go to the catalog and go to the course descriptions in the back of the catalog, it can sometimes be a little bit easier to weed through those. But some classes have a lot of prereqs. Some classes don't have any, some have one, maybe two. So it just kind of depends on the class, but a lot of it is just kind of looking at it and figuring out if they are required courses or if they're listed where it's like 5 courses, but it could be any one of those 5 courses. So a lot of the time it's just reading it and kind of breaking it down. If that's confusing, we're absolutely happy to help with that. When it comes to registering students, that's also things that we check too. So we are a second pair of eyes on that. If it was missed by the student, we're kind of that second pair of eyes too. But a lot of it is just checking the catalog, and especially if there's courses you're interested in taking at some point in time as an elective or general education course that you're really interested in, I would encourage you during that research to look and see if that class has any prereqs, so you can just be prepared for that and you're not playing catch up later if you really want to take that class. But yeah, the catalog I think can be a little bit easier to read at times. They are on the course search as Raven showed, but sometimes it can get a little lengthy in the listing of them. So whichever way the students prefer, there's multiple ways of finding that.
Thank you. I think we have one last question here. Can a student still ask either one of you questions once they declare a major?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We just know sometimes that faculty advisors are busy. They're teaching classes, they're department chairs, things like that. So we're more than welcome to help with that. And also at the end of the day, Lauren and I are still going to communicate whoever we meet with that information to the faculty advisor. So we're not going to really make any hardcore decisions. We're going to communicate, we've met with Susie and this is what we discuss. Does this look okay? And faculty advisors often call us about breakthrough things with their students. So it's kind of a back and forth, and we just make sure to keep that communication open.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of it too is that a lot of the faculty advisors are teaching those classes. So Raven and I can provide a general overview about what we know about the class, what's going to go on in there, but the department faculty, the ones that are actually teaching those classes, will have a lot more information as to maybe examples of specific assignments or specific projects they might find in that. So that's why we're absolutely happy to answer any questions, but we would consider those faculty advisors kind of the subject matter experts because those are their classes. So we will absolutely, like Raven said, kind of be the glue between the two and chime them in, happy to answer any questions and then help them continue to find the rest of that information. So we definitely share the load with everybody.
Well, thank you both very much. This has been very informational for me, and I know it will be for all of our students listening in. Just a reminder, this will be posted to our MyWC page under the Career Development tab. So thank you guys for listening in this week, and we hope you have a good rest of your afternoon.